Alrighty, Pickle. Week 7 of the Texas high school football season kicks off tonight live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, TexanLive.com. You can stream a bunch of games tonight on TexanLive.com. There are, I think it's 667 games across the state this week. Big week. Yeah. Big week. Nice little week.
Different from the big bye week last week.
I have narrowed those down to 10. To, in my opinion, the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. Start rolling them out. Start with number 10, Munster and Lindsay. Pickle, it's the Kraut Bowl.
Let's go.
And, by the way, an actually good game. Mm-hmm. Munster and Lindsay will tee it off tomorrow night in Lindsay in a game that is just one of the best rivalries in Texas high school football. Hard to stop. It's just great. It's also just a darn good small school game. Munster has been one of the teams that I've been very high on of late. I think that they are one of those teams, and I'll tell you who else is high on them, is the Computer. The Computer actually has Munster as the number 1 team in 2A Division II right now. And their losses are narrow losses to Holiday and Pottsboro, which are both 3A programs. They also have a win over Windthorst. This team is rolling right now. What I'm interested to see is especially what happens when what has been a high-powered Munster offense takes aim on the road at what has been a pretty decent Lindsay defense led by Coach Casey Jones. Their one loss on the year is to Leonard, 3A team. In fact, they have wins over Pilot Point and Dublin, which are 2 3A teams as well. So they've punched up significantly. For Lindsay, this really begins the gauntlet for them because they play Munster this week and they're at Collinsville next week. So don't be surprised if Lindsay makes another appearance on this list next week. Huge game, big rivalry game, big atmosphere in the Kraut Bowl. It's going to be a lot of fun. Munster and Lindsay going on up in North Texas. On to number 9. Marshall and Texas High. A word for a moment on Marshall. I think this is a team that somehow at 4-1 is kind of flying under the radar, but they have been really, really strong to start the year. And I think that I don't think it's smoke and mirrors. I think this team may in fact have the juice. Specifically, I really like what they've been able to do defensively. Their defense has played particularly well to start the year. They've got wins over Tyler. Their one loss in the year is to Longview, which I think is an acceptable loss, especially for a 5A team. They opened up district play last week with a win over Mount Pleasant. And I think when you take a look, my opinion, when you take a look at District 7 5A Division 2, when you take a look at this district, I think that this is probably for the district championship. Texas High is a team we've talked about a fair amount. Another team the Computer loves. They actually have them as the number 1 team in 5A Division 2. And their offense has been absolutely electrifying. Obviously, Tredarian Ball is the tip of the spear there, but they have so many different ways to beat you. And I'm interested to see if this, what happens when this high-powered Texas High offense, which comes in averaging more than 50 points per game, goes up against what may be the best defense they've seen so far this season. So a fascinating ball game out there in Texarkana tomorrow night. Marshall and Texas High, big East Texas showdown. Number 8, Humble, Summer Creek, and Sheldon CE King. Another game in District 23 6A that, again, falls probably outside of that kind of triumvirate of CE King, or rather Summer Creek, North Shore, and Atascocita. Mm-hmm. CE King's probably the 4th place team in that district. They can certainly go out and shock the world if they were to go and knock off Summer Creek. I think CE King's good enough to do it. Specifically, I really think that what they've got cooking on the defensive side is good enough to hold them in a lot of games. My concern is twofold for them. One, can the offense find enough juice? The last time they played one of these contenders, Atascocita, they were held to 7 points. The other thing that I want to see is in this game is Summer Creek, and do they let one game beat them twice? Coming off of what was a heartbreaking loss to Atascocita last week, they have got to refocus and get right, because if they, to borrow a phrase, fart around, CE King's good enough to beat them.
Yeah.
So my question is, can Summer Creek refocus and get back on track this week against a talented and dangerous CE King team? That's my number 8 pick. Number 7, Kilgore and Tyler Chapel Hill. In a game that probably has lost a little bit of its luster, I think for a couple of reasons. Kilgore lost last week to Henderson.
Yeah.
I want to know where their head's at.
It was a bad loss at home.
It's a disappointing loss. Henderson's better than I think people realize, but
yeah.
I think you're right. That's a game that you shouldn't lose. Going up against a Chapel Hill team that is wounded right now. Ricky Stewart's nicked up. Demetrius Brisbane did not play last week. Matt Stepp tells us he does not expect him to play this week. I want to see what happens in this one. This is also a big rivalry matchup. This is, I believe, the 7th time in the last 3.5 years these teams have played each other. And Kilgore has usually won in the regular season, and Chapel Hill is undefeated in the playoffs against Kilgore. What happens when these two teams tee it up? Can Kilgore avoid letting one loss beat them twice? Can Chapel Hill find a way, probably without Demetrius Brisbane, to get that offense rolling? That's a big question in this one. Big East Texas clash out there, Kilgore and Chapel Hill. Number 6, Salina and Sulfur Springs. Love this game. Mm-hmm. Matchup of unbeatens out there at the home of the glass toilet, the glass bathroom there in Sulfur Springs. And we talked about this on Tepper Step, which you can watch here tomorrow. But what Brandon Faircloth is doing there at Sulfur Springs is kind of what he was brought in to do. I mean, he is looking the part of a guy who can make it happen out there. He has been absolutely exceptional to start this season. And what I want to see is what happens. Especially, they got a big offensive line. Their offense has been very good. The trench play in this game is going to be fantastic. Salina might have the best pound for pound offensive line in the state. Can anybody slow down Salina? This is your big final exam here, like your measuring stick, Sulfur Springs. You get the number 1 team in the state in your place, an opportunity to really make a statement. Salina's got to be your favorite in this one, the way they're running the ball, with Logan Gutierrez, Harrison Williams, that big offensive line, and the way they're throwing it with Bo Bentley, and their defense has been excellent as well. It's a tall order for Sulfur Springs, but if they can do this in this matchup of unbeatens, then they will send shockwaves across the state. Number 5, Wichita Falls, City View, and Jacksboro. Love this game.
Yeah.
Really excited about this game. And for a game that I think is flying under people's radar and shouldn't be. This is a Jacksboro team, is 4-1, and their quarterback, Wyatt Gavitt's been great, but let me tell you about the star of that show. Cannon Valenzuela. Mm-hmm. We saw him at 7-on-7 in the summer, and we were like, this guy. He's the real stinking deal, and he's been exceptional for them. For City View, I think they're the best team in Wichita Falls this year, and I think that their duo of quarterback Malachi Williams and running back Keyshawn Perry is really, really fun to watch. My question for me is going to be, can City View match Jacksboro's defense? Because I think Jacksboro might have the slight edge defensively. This is a fabulous game in District 6-3A Division 2. I'm really interested in it. That's number 5. Number 4, Richland and Denton Ryan. Obviously, we saw the story on TexasFootball.com yesterday. This game is live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live tomorrow night. The story about the death of Aaron De La Torre, the defensive coordinator for Denton Ryan. Denton Ryan, of course, is having quite an emotional week. Obviously, with that, the loss to Aledo on Friday, which I know pales in comparison to that. But there's just a lot going on with Ryan right now. A lot of this is a measurement of like where their head is at, and I think this is, you want to talk about a challenge for a head coach and Dave Hennigan to keep his guys focused and keep his guys together in the wake of all of this stuff, and get things moving in the right direction against not let one loss beat you twice, up against a Richland team that is capable of doing that. This is a top 5 matchup in 581, and Richland has looked terrific to start the year, and their quarterback Cates, oh man, it's Jed Cates' kid. I'm sorry, Coach.
Oh goodness.
I know. This is mean of me. I'm going to look this up. This is worth looking up. But he has been exceptional to start the year. And the question for me in this one is, this is the first time I think all year that Richland is going to need some balance offensively. And their star running back, Michael Turner, the Baylor commit, is out for the year. So Drew Cates, isn't it? A lot's going to fall on Drew Cates and the defense. A lot of moving parts in this game with Richland and Denton Ryan, some on the field, some off the field. It is a game we will certainly be keeping an eye on this week. That's number 4. Number 3, Argyle, Liberty Christian, and Plano Prestonwood. A little private school remix here.
Okay.
This is a big game. Plano Prestonwood is flying under the radar, I think. And I think, for a program that, of course, has state championship pedigree in the past, but they're 5-1 to start the year. And they kind of look like the Prestonwood of old. They've got a quarterback in junior Luke Glass, who's been excellent. They've got a running back in Takashi Shaw, who's been very good as well. They get an opportunity against the arguably, the number 2 team in the state, but arguably the best private school team in the state in Argyle Liberty Christian. They have one loss in the year. It's Texas High. We've already talked about how good they are. And look, Argyle Liberty Christian has been absolutely rolling to start the year, especially on the offensive side. Their junior quarterback, Quinn Murphy, has been really, really strong. They've got a ton of different playmakers, including a tight end named Cooper Witten, which seems interesting. Fabulous game here. Argyle Liberty Christian, Plano, Prestonwood, kind of a sorting game as far as DFW private school powers are concerned. Fabulous, fabulous game there. Number 2, Stratford and Groover. We're going to talk with the head coach of the Groover Greyhounds, Kurt Habather, coming up here in just a moment. This is a huge opportunity for Groover to prove that they are ready for their close-up. District 1-2A, Division II opener. And what I love about this Groover team is that their offense has been absolutely terrific. Briggs Satterfield, Walker Maupin, the Dax Conyers, the brother of Jalen Conyers, who's now at Texas Tech. This team is loaded. They have got dudes all over the place. Here is your final test against Stratford, the number 2 team in the state, a team that with Bryce Braden, and they've got Julio Valdez back, their running back, they are going to be very, very dangerous. This is a huge test for Groover. They're at Greyhound Stadium at 7 o'clock. We're going to talk to Coach Hab coming up here in a moment, but really excited about this one. And I think number 1 is pretty obvious. The number 1 team game in the state this week is...
making you wait. Boom!
Dimmitt and Tulia. Dimmitt and Tulia
worth it.
is absolutely the biggest game of the week. I love this Dimmitt team. I think they're better than their record indicates at 2-4. I think that they're kind of a hard luck loser a couple of weeks ago when they played Lamesa. Want to see what they do against Tulia. Big game there. Okay, if you want to keep going.
I wondered why.
Yeah, okay. So Duncanville and DeSoto is the number 1 team of the number 1 game of the state. Duncanville and DeSoto, it's the both of the 2-time defending 6A state champs taking aim at one another. 2 teams that don't like each other. 2 teams that are sick of hearing about one another, have circled one another. And I'll just say this. We talk about it a lot in the picks video, so stick around here for that. Points.
Very points.
Expect points. I think there's going to be a high-scoring game. Both these offenses playing at an exceptionally high level. We have questions, I think, for both defenses in this game.
Yeah, it kind of gives off North Crowley DeSoto vibes a little bit.
I think so. Duncanville and DeSoto is by far the number 1 game in the state this week, and we will be all over it on TexasFootball.com.
You should have stuck with your gut and stuck with Tulia.
Dimmitt and Tulia?
Yeah, that's shame on you.
I know. I'm sorry.
You know better.
I'm excited about Dimmitt and Tulia. Maybe you guys aren't, but that's on you.